Hey there, Alex Helton here with the Helton Real Estate Group, bringing you the market update for April 2021, as well as year-to-date for Davidson County. We also have a special announcement or a piece of information that we hope is helpful regarding recent tax assessments in Davidson County. So tune in for that later on in this video. We got a little bit more information than we typically share, so hang on and we'll dive right in. Looking at the monthly report for April 2021, there is a takeaway here as well as year-to-date current inventory. For Davidson County, there were 1459 closings at a median price of $360. One thing to point out, it looks like transactions are up 49%, but if we think back to around spring break, mid-March of 2020, things are beginning to shut down. April, things are mostly shut down, including, the housing market didn't come to a halt, but it really slowed down for a good 30 to 60 day period. So all of April, things were much slower, which means closings were significantly down in 2020, 977, whereas typically they would have been up closer to that, 13 to 1700 transaction range. So that's a little bit deceptive. That's the first takeaway, is that it appears transactions are up 50%, but in context, it's a little bit different than what that appears. In Williamson County, same story. You got 552 transactions in April, just last month, at an average, median price of $666. Year to date in Davidson County, we got almost 5,000 transactions at a median price in Nashville is now $350,000. That's up 11% over, similar period last year. So I do think that using that year to date and then all the information from the same period last year, this is pretty accurate, and that is what we're seeing in the market. Williamson County, you got 1,700 transactions at a median price of $607. Similar numbers, we're in the teens, so we're up in Williamson County, median price about 15%. So takeaway here is, in context, the transactions aren't up quite as much, but year to date, we've got median prices up between, say, 10 and 15% between Davidson and Williamson County, pretty significant. When we look at the current inventory, always keep in mind the number that is sort of our reference point is 6. And if there are 6 months of inventory currently available, that is what we would call a neutral market. This applies for any market in the nation. It's all supply and demand, and it tells us what is called the absorption rate. And that is, if no other homes came on the market today, based on current demand, how long would it take to sell those homes? And if it takes about 6 months, prices aren't going up, they're not really going down. Time to sell is probably 30 to 60 days in terms of getting a contract. Not seeing a whole lot of multiple offers, maybe occasionally, but it's certainly not the norm. And so just keep that in mind. The lower it is, the quicker those sell means, we're seeing what we're seeing now, which is multiple offers, well over asking, crazy stuff like, I'll bring you pizza and Coke if you accept our offer, and all kinds of wacky, but sometimes necessary stuff. So just keep that in mind. 6, when we look at Davidson County, under $1 million, we've got less than a month of inventory. Same thing with Williamson. One thing that we're seeing here in the past months, in the past, say, 12 months, the inventory has been right at just under a month. So it's 30 days. Right now, we're looking at, in Williamson County, under $1 million is a week's worth. Like, just unprecedented. So to me, if I'm looking to buy or sell, I have all kinds of questions. Do I really need an agent if I want to sell? If I'm buying, do I even have a chance? Is it even worth it? And depending on who you are in your situation, the answer is going to be different for those questions. So all sorts of other questions as well. But if you're in that position where you're thinking about selling or thinking about buying or both, give us a call. We love having these conversations every day. I have them every day with people. Just their situation. I love bringing our experience and our desire to help people move with confidence and move with clarity, and just kind of think through that. And my experience has been, maybe not every time, but it seems like every time there's sort of a light bulb aha moment with the other person to say, okay, I see now, and so we're going to move forward with this, or it makes total sense to stick where we are, but all things considered now that we have some more insight. So just an FYI, give us a call wherever you're seeing, my cell phone number or our office line number is 615-390-5916. So back to the inventory in Davidson County, you're looking at less than 2 months for the $1 million plus. And then in Williamson, over $1 million, the inventory is 1.2. When I look back at the inventory for over $1 million, for I think it was May 2020, the inventory was significantly higher than that. Again, context, pandemic, things had slowed down for a little bit, but especially in the $1 million plus range to be, well under 2 months absorption rate, 2 months supply of inventory is pretty crazy. All right, so takeaways we got from here, we got start of the pandemic, so the numbers are in context, the transactions are not as much higher as the numbers may appear. Secondly, median price is up 10 to 15% in all of Davidson and Williamson County. 3, inventory is at a week. That's unprecedented. 4, the $1 million plus range is also significantly down. And then the 5th thing that I want to mention is if you have recently gotten a tax assessment in your mail, and you should have by now, and you think maybe the valuation that the tax assessor gave is significantly higher than what you believe your home to be worth, and you're interested in potentially having that corrected so that you're not paying hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars a year in taxes that you don't need to, give me a call and we can take a look at comps. We can feed you comps to appeal that. In one scenario, we've seen the tax assessment to be as high as about 85% over the value of a very recent appraisal. So that's just an example. I've had other conversations recently, had a client call and theirs was right in line with what the market is. So they just had the assurance to know that they're not going to be paying unnecessary taxes. But in the other examples where it's higher, we'll take a look at comps. Those appeals need to be done by May 21st. So if you think there's any chance yours is higher, give us a call pretty soon, so that we're not looking at things last minute. We have plenty of time to look at comps, feed you comps, appeal, and go through that process. So with that, if you have any questions about this or your own situation, again, always just give us a call. My number is 615-390-5916. And with that, we'll see you next month.